Hola, I'm Meg James, your Move to Spain coach. Welcome back to my channel. I am excited that you're here and I'm super excited to share. I'm very close to a special initiative I've been working on. I'm close to 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours here. And so thank you so much for anybody who has commented, subscribed, been a part of this journey, new to YouTube, and it's always uncomfortable stepping into a new territory. And so thanks for that. Today's episode Doce, is going to be all about my puppy, Nachito. Nachito, venga. Nacho, venga. You're gonna meet Nacho, but really, here, come here, we're not allowed to do this. I'm gonna get in trouble, right? I'm gonna get in trouble for letting you on my furniture. But, oh, I'm hurting you, sorry. Look, can you say hola? Hola, ¿qué tal? I know, you're my snuggler. Today, we're gonna talk about the costs that are associated with having a dog in Spain. We got Nacho when he was 4 months old, bred here in Madrid, and he is a mix of a Cocker and Brittany Spaniel. We love him so much, he's such a good puppy. And I wanna share the differences of the US and Spain, because we've now had dogs in both locations, and share the cost of differences. ¿Listos? Oh, gracias. Okay, it's Nacho's day, so if he walks in the back or jumps on me, he can do whatever he wants today. So I'm going to share some of the things that was so surprising to me of the cost of living here when it came to having a dog. So I want to talk first about the vet costs, because vet costs were so expensive in the US. I remember them being like oppressively expensive. I remember we had 2 dogs, Jersey and Warrior, in the US at different times. And I remember if something happened to them, I'd be like, oh my gosh, they have to go to the vet. It's gonna be hundreds of dollars, almost $1,000. Every checkup was like at least $250, and all the vaccines. And I just never had like a pet insurance type of a situation. It was just never super beneficial to me to have. So I always paid out of pocket, and it was always super expensive. And so one thing for starters that I want to talk about is the cost of going to the vet. So we have taken Nacho to the vet. In fact, in the US, I felt like they wanted us to come back more frequently. Here, she said, all right, see you in a year, or unless you need me. So I guess you only go once a year. And so at his annual checkup, we paid 50 euros for the appointment, plus 20 euros for his flea and tick collar that will last a year, plus another 30 euros to, maybe even a little less, to pay for his heartworm medicine. I think that might have been for 9 months. So let's just say it was around a year. It was 9 months for one of them, for all those treatments. It was about 100 euros, which I'll translate to US dollars, probably $115. So that's for his annual, probably only time unless something happens that he goes to the vet cost, which is crazy to me. So that's the first way that I found it to be so inexpensive to have a dog here in Spain. The next is overnight care. And so we've done a mixture of things. We did board, not Warrior, getting our dogs confused, back in the US. And that could be $45 US dollars per night to board Warrior. So for boarding costs here in Nacho, it's about $30 a night for him to have awesome play with other dogs, to go out to kind of like the forest area of Madrid. She's wonderful, La de Perros. I'll put her contact here if you're looking for a dog watcher or walker in the Valdebebas Madrid area. But it's about $30 a day on an extended trip, maybe up to 35. And so that's for an overnight. So it is expensive, but it's cheaper than it was in the US. Another surprising thing that I didn't know about having a dog in Spain is you're actually required to get insurance to have him. Now, we bought it, and I think it was 15 euros for the year online. It was very inexpensive, and I'll link the company that we used to buy it. But in Spain, it is required in case the dog bites someone or another animal, and just, I guess, has any kind of property damage. It is required for insurance for a dog. Now, in the US, it is completely different, because situations happen, then it's up to the owner to pay the other tenant if something happened to their property, etc. But here you are required to get insurance, and that covers you from having any high additional costs. And so 15 euros and a mandatory insurance policy for Nacho is much better than in the US, where you could be liable if something happened and you were charged for much more. So I'm happy to pay that low cost to know that everything will be okay if we had a problem. The third area that I want to share of the cost differences in the US is probably the greatest of all of them. The vet is a big flex, but the groomer is insane to me. So Nacho was looking a little frumpy. Let me see if I can find a picture of him before he needed to get a haircut. And we finally took him and just gave him like a clean, not shave to be bald, but but like a clean cut for starting off winter. And I was expecting, I think in the US, to get my dog groomed in the bath and nails clipped and that kind of whole experience at an official dog groomer. I was probably looking at spending under 100, let's just say maybe $80 US. Well, we got to the groomer, picked up Nacho, and after the cutting in the bath and the clips and all the things, it was 30 euros. So $33 US. And so, yeah, it is very affordable to get your dog groomed in Spain. We were shocked at the costs compared to the US for that topic, for sure. I guess the takeaway is it's much cheaper to have a dog in Spain than it is in the US, and that some insurance is required, but it's very affordable and it kind of mitigates your risk. Well, I want to talk about some dog etiquette that I would have never expected after living in the US, and I didn't live in a city, so I didn't know, but just some of the major differences of living in an urba or here in a flat in Spain compared to living in the US. So dogs are not supposed to pee in the grass of an urba. So let's just paint a picture. You live in New York City, because I want to make it comparable. Like, we lived on a farm in South Carolina, so that's very different. In New York City, your dog is not permitted, or shouldn't, not politically, but just speaking as well as getting along with others, should not pee, or go number 2, on the grass in the apartment complex of New York. So that's crazy to me, because I think in the US you take your dog outside and it's free range for your dog to go anywhere. In Spain, it is kind of an unspoken rule that your dog cannot pee or poop on the grass. In fact, it's kind of encouraged to not even play with them out there because you can't control their activity. And so, yeah, that was a big surprise to us. No grass for peeing and pooping in a private urba. It's actually encouraged to take your dog outside of the urba, and they prefer that he pee or poop on the cement. And so we find patches of grass that is public owned. Well, you know, I guess the urba is public owned, but is outside of the urba, that we can have him relieve himself. But as far as in the urba, that is extremely frowned upon. I had no idea. Another major difference of dogs in Spain is it's actually suggested that you dump water or have water, and actually vinegar is encouraged in a bottle with you when you walk your dog, so that you can dump it on the cement to get rid of the urine smell. Now, I don't always do this depending on the location where he pees. I try to get him to a location where if there's less foot traffic and it's kind of, you know, not intrusive to other people. But if he just peed right on the concrete where people are walking, it's not a law, but it's suggested that you either take your water bottle, which you don't really walk around with in Spain, so that's ironic, or you remember to have brought a water bottle with vinegar, a water bottle, to get rid of that urine there. So that's another factor of having a dog in Spain that I was not familiar with after having lived in the US on a farm. The last fun fact that I want to share about having a dog in Spain today is actually about the number of dogs that are off leash. So if you have not been to Spain, specifically Madrid, but really I guess anywhere I visited in Spain, there are so many dogs off leash. They walk right next to their owner. And in fact, we do take Nacho to more remote areas of Valdebebas in Madrid here where we live, and let him practice walking off leash, because it's just kind of more what you do here. But compared to the US, I could never imagine in the US walking around in a neighborhood and letting your dog be off leash. People would not have it. Here in Spain, it is a very pet-friendly environment, and people are used to dogs walking off leash. Now, whenever I mention that, like on Instagram or in passing with people that live here, they'll say, oh no, the dog is supposed to be on a leash, which I think legally speaking it is. But how people actually act here in Spain is that for the most part, dogs are off leash, not on leash. So that was a cultural difference that I didn't know either. I shared this in Instagram content and also just with friends and family, but we had a situation happen with our dog back in the US, Warrior, that did not allow him to come with us to Spain. And it was quite a devastating experience. In fact, it took us a year to heal and kind of recover from it. We were able to rehome him with a wonderful new family, and never in a million years would I think I would be someone who needed to rehome a dog. But what had happened was that he had bit my sister's dog, and it had disabled him from being able to come with us and get a passport that you need to get to the EU as a dog. And when doing so, he was not able to be in an environment where dogs are always off leash. The liability to us would just be so high that he would bite another dog here in Spain. And with the language difference and just a bunch of different reasons, we just decided it was more comfortable for him and all of us to rehome him to someone else in South Carolina. And she just loves him, which is great. But I know the heartbreak that comes along with needing to rehome a dog if you've needed to move or suddenly make a change. And so if that's something that you've gone through, I understand how you feel. I also want to share that there is a wonderful option that I've not personally used, but if you are someone who's thinking of moving to Spain and you're not sure how you're going to transport your dog to Spain, I'm going to link here a private company that I have found that does that actually relocates dogs through air travel through Spain. And that is who we're planning on using should and if we decide to move from Spain back to the US or somewhere else, that we could bring obviously Nacho with us, because rehoming dogs is not a hobby that I'm looking to get into. It was kind of an unfortunate circumstance. And so I want to link that as a resource to you if you are someone who's been searching on what you can do with your dog if you're living in the US currently. It's actually pretty affordable and it comes really highly regarded, and I've had several conversations with them and I'm ready to partner with them should it be our turn to get our dog on a plane. And so that's just something to think about if you're in need of that service. Traveling with a dog is easy in Spain to do, but unfortunately many beaches, especially in southern Spain or Alicante, kind of Avia area where we went this past summer, are not necessarily dog friendly in high season. The beaches are just packed in Spain. And so we did bring a dog, Nacho, with us on the vacation this past summer, but it wasn't as enjoyable because a lot of the dog friendly beaches were either farther than where we were, or we just decided not to access them. And so my tip for you is, if you're traveling with dogs, car travel in Spain is definitely the easiest way. That's the way that we take him out of Madrid in the city when we don't have football and we have a perfect kind of weekend that we can go into nature. We'll take him and let him run around in some of these beautiful towns near Madrid. One of the next things we're trying to do that I have not done yet is taking him on the train with us. And so I have read in multiple resources that dogs in Spain are able to train travel. You just need to buy them a ticket. And so if that's something you've experienced with, I'd love to know in the comments, but that's something that we're going to try next. And so I'll be able to speak to and maybe add a comment here in the future to how that went. And so that is our story of owning a dog in Spain. We did not come with a dog to Spain, but we did get a puppy since we've been here in Madrid. You do not have to show any paperwork in order to get a dog in Spain as a US citizen. We are not Spanish citizens. We're not becoming Spanish citizens. We were just able to get a dog from a dog breeder here. Nacho came chipped, and he also has a EU passport now. And so should we need to fly with him, then he would have the proper identification needed to fly as well in the EU, which is kind of cute, Nacho. And so we're gonna take you outside and show you what it's like to be outside of our urba here in Madrid, Spain with a dog. But if you have questions or comments about owning a dog in Spain, I'd love to know below. Thanks for subscribing. If you have other topics that you'd like me to talk about as a Your Move to Spain coach, I'd love to do that too. Ciao. On the weekends, we try to take him to some of the small towns near Madrid that have more green spaces and little rivers and streams. But during the busy work week, school week, this is what Nacho's life is. Hasta luego, Nacho. Nacho. Mira. Nacho. Nacho. Mira. Say hasta luego. Say I'm busy. Muy ocupado. Hasta luego, Nacho. Nacho. Hasta luego.